Welcome to this week's episode of the Flipped Learning Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Cockrum, along with the co-host, Joan Brown.
Hi.
We're here to talk today about the updates announced to Google Classroom.
Yay!
Yeah, lots of, well, I wouldn't say lots, but some exciting updates that people have been asking and waiting for quite a long time. What's the first one? What's the big headline one?
Multiple teachers in a classroom. So you can share this out with another team teacher. And then I have another idea for it as well. But let's just start with that. It's really intuitive. I think Google has done a brilliant job of when you open Classroom, it pops up and says, hey, you can invite a teacher. You do have to click on the About section, but it just says, hey, invite another teacher.
And when we tested it, what we found is it has to be a teacher in your domain. You couldn't invite another teacher from outside the domain.
That's true. We were unable to invite, from a different school, but that totally makes sense. And most of the time, teachers are going to be very happy to be able to work with someone within their building anyway. Right. I know in our situation, we do have some inclusion. And that means that you do have a team teacher, a special education teacher in the classroom, and they really do need access to those students. We were doing all kinds of crazy workarounds within Drive to share out folders and stuff, but now this is going to be so nice. The two features that they are able to do is a teacher can comment on an assignment that a student has done. So they're able to make their own input, and then they can grade the assignment, which is really the big plus for most of the teachers.
Yeah, and I saw one of the stories that I was reading said that the co-teacher, the added teacher, can do everything that the creating teacher can do except delete the class. So.
Right. So then you're going to have this argument about what the banner looks like.
Yeah, I suppose they could get in fights over changing it back and forth, and it's just like when you share your classroom and people are moving desks around, and you're like, I don't like that desk formation.
The most applicable situation I see right now is our PE department, because we've got a team of 5 teachers and they're teaching an entire grade level, and they really are on the same schedule. They're teaching the same lessons. They need something that they can get the kids to access mobile and on a computer, and Classroom just does that beautifully. I have to give an applause to Google for making this so easy in a mobile environment. Kids are able to turn in video, audio, they're able to turn in any kind of file at all that they produce on their mobile device, and they do it just as easily as they would on a computer. So our PE department, I can't wait to give them some professional development and say, hey, look what you can do. So that's cool.
So what was the next feature that they announced?
Well, since we were talking about multiple teachers being able to grade, here's the bonus. In the past with Classroom, if you were to type in a grade, say you gave a child an 80 out of 100, you really needed to return that assignment immediately, because those grades wouldn't save. And now you're able to save all those grades and return an assignment all at the same time to students. Huge. I know you were talking about how you would use that.
Yeah. For me, if I had a big project, I wouldn't be able to grade every single project at the same time or the same day a lot of times. So I would grade 3 one day, maybe 4 the next day or whatever. And I just didn't want them pushed out at different times, so the students, I wanted the students to all get their grade at the same time. I didn't want students asking, why didn't I get a grade, but so-and-so has their grade or whatever. Because, especially I had one class, I know that the kids were on top of their grades all the time on their online grade book. So they knew the minute I entered grades, they seemed to know it. So I would like to push out grades all at the same time, so they all get it at the same time. So that would be helpful. Yeah.
I think it was only they had to do that feature as well when you have team teachers, because you can't have one person in there, grading stuff before the other and really, pushing it out fast, and the other half of the class is going, why aren't we getting ours? And so that made it simple. You could synchronize with another teacher. I also see all of these changes in professional development are going to be huge. My principal personally was looking forward to multiple teachers, because we're looking at Google Classroom as a professional development platform in which we can send out information, we can send out trainings, we can get feedback on how people are perceiving this. And the little button in there that says mark as done, you don't have to actually input anything, but at least as a teacher, you can say, yes, I've read that article, and you can comment on it. And that way, more than one administrator is going to be able to see this and kind of look at, how are these teachers doing with the professional? How do they like it? It's a great tool. And so the grading aspect of it, maybe you're not, particularly giving out different grades, but you're able to do all at once, review it, give the comments at the same time, and it really is helpful.
And it auto saves your grades, so you don't have to it just auto saves as you're filling in the numbers. You don't have to go back and submit all your grades. It saves them until you're ready to hit, return or send. I forget what the terminology is, but until you're ready to send it all back. So that's good.
Right. And it's return them. Keep it in mind, just for teachers that are unfamiliar with how Classroom works, but maybe they've been using Google Apps for Education. Ownership actually changes, and the editing ability changes as well. So when a student presses the turn in button, they have lost the ability to edit that document. Then when the teacher grades it and actually presses return, the editing ability comes back to the student, but also the ownership of the document goes to the student then. And what my teachers like is, so all that stuff, all that junk is not left in their drive. They are no longer the owner of it. They can remove that, and the kids still have a copy of it. So it's kind of a nice process. It really is. It works well. And that way kids, if in 5th grade, they want to remember what they did in 4th grade, it's still there, and that's really, really special for kids that want to refer back to things that they learned previously. Mm-hmm. One more that I can think of is notifications. And a lot of people didn't even know this was there. Because teachers have been going about their business using Classroom for a while, and they didn't realize they were probably filling up the students' emails, because every time you make an announcement or an assignment, the student gets an email notification. Now they can change that. They can go back and they can change their settings, and it's over in the upper right-hand corner where you see the 3 lines. I call that the hamburger. Mm-hmm. What do people call it? Okay, you call it the hamburger?
Some people call it the hot dog, but I think it's too short to be a hot dog, so I call it the hamburger too.
I call it that, and the apps thing is the freckles. But anyway, the hamburger, if you click on that and you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a settings button, and really the only thing you can change in settings is either turn on notifications or turn them off. So I bet students are in there like, oh my goodness, get rid of the notifications, because they get an email for every little thing. But announced 2 days ago, teachers actually are going to get a notification when a student writes a private comment. So I was going to screen share and kind of show where you might find a private comment. Let's just see if I can do that. Let's see if I'm in my right account. That's always the fun part, is figuring out where am I. Am I on this one is the question. So if I am, yep, that's it. So I'm a student, and this happens to be the teacher version. Sorry, I need to screen share a different one. My fault. Let me see if I can find it again. I've got too many things open. That's all. There we go. All right, so that should be my student account. And as you can see, there's an assignment in here called This is a PDF. And if you look right here where it says add a private comment, A lot of times if you could teach your kids that this would be the place when they don't understand the homework assignment, they don't really get what they're supposed to do, or maybe question number 3 is unclear, or maybe they don't have time to finish it because they have to go to a soccer game. If they learn to write it in the private comment associated with the assignment, the beauty is that the teacher gets an email, and the email, I'm hoping I'm going to get it here in a second. The email shows up in your account, and mine happens to be, I'm using Outlook. Sorry for those that are opposed to that. But the email shows up, and it's really cool because it lets you know that the name of the student, there's the other one. It tells you which assignment it's associated with, it tells you what the comment is, and then it gives the teacher a link from the email to reply to the comment. So for those teachers that live in email and they need, here's another, there it is. Hey, teach, I don't get this. That sounds very much like a 7th grader. If for the kids that really do need help, you're going to be able to attend to them both in your email and in classroom, and it's going to be fairly instantaneous. So I like that feature. I think it's got potential to do other things, but I think teachers who are not really paying attention to all the aspects of classroom, that's going to help a lot. And if they can train their students, hey, when you have a question, send it to me as a private comment attached to the assignment or the announcement. It's going to work really well for them.
I like, and it's a small detail, but I like that it calls it a private comment. And that kind of starts to, it doesn't say send an email, and it doesn't say comment. It's kind of a digital citizenship lesson in itself, that your students are seeing the words private comment and realizing, okay, if I do this, it is a private comment that only goes to my teacher. And so, I don't know if Google thought that through. It wouldn't surprise me if they had thought that through and decided that. But I do like that little detail that it's called a private comment. Because I know Google wants to get away from the concept of email. So they're never going to say send an email.
Right.
But they might have said send a message to your, send a message or something. And they said send a private comment. So that's interesting.
I'm all for it. I think anytime that you can roll in a digital citizenship lesson, you need to take that teachable moment, because especially, I know I work in the middle school, and that is the time to really make sure they're very, very clear what the internet is all about. And all of this stuff in Google Classroom, any comment they make, anything in the stream, if it is deleted, it can be retrieved. And that's something that the kids need to see. In fact, most of my teachers, I love the way they start their introduction to classroom, is they give kids all the features, all the ability to comment in the stream, and then they show them how they can delete it, but how they can retrieve it anytime they want. And I think that's a brilliant lesson, because all that is true. Even Facebook, Twitter, any social media, most of that can be retrieved in one way or another.
And then one that I liked was scheduling comments and assignment, or scheduling announcements and assignments in advance.
Oh yes, I forgot about that one.
So that obviously the biggest use I see is teachers not having to wait. They could do everything on Sunday night or Monday morning or whatever for the whole week if they wanted to, and just schedule them to time release when they needed them to time release. One thing that I was thinking about with this is because I did a session at a Google Summit 2 weeks ago, and we talked a little bit about Classroom as far as using it as a flipping tool. And the teacher asked me, can you copy a class for next year? Can she take her entire class from this year and copy it to next year? And then if you can, what do you do with all those due dates? And I said, well, since this is the first year of Classroom, we haven't seen that need happen yet, I guess. And so I didn't know the answer. I'm wondering if this could be a step towards something like that. Is now you could take everything that you did in the class the previous year and just schedule all new due dates, right?
You can reschedule, you can change due dates, but, and I know we were going to talk about this a little later about features that some teachers want. The problem is you can't reorder anything in the stream. So the workaround, which is quite nice, is to tell kids to look at their assignments under that left-hand side, the hamburger, to click on assignments. Because when they go there, they are put in due date order, regardless of what order they're in the stream. So they can see, oh, I've got to do the essay before I do the poster, kind of thing. And I know the whole idea of creating drafts of assignments has been really wanted, especially now that you've got 2 and more teachers in there and they're all building assignments. We don't want those to become viewable until the right moment. But when you do actually assign something, it shows up in the stream on top of the last thing. So everything is sequential in the stream based on when you click the assign. So now you have a little more control by using that draft mode in what order it shows up in for the kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, huge.
So the blog post that I read about it from I can't remember which site I was, but it was one of the trusted Google News sites. Said more Google Classroom news to come out in quotes before summer.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm hearing from the undisclosed people that have just come back from the Google offices. And they are telling me that obviously this was a pressing, really, really important update. And that's why it rolled out before the end of the school year. But I can guarantee you that before next school year, you will see a lot more added to Google Classroom to make it better. And I think that's what teachers are looking to do. Is this year's been the experimental year. They've been trying it out. They're testing the waters to see if this is going to be their mode of assignments. And most of them already love it. So any features are going to be icing on the cake,
So just a reminder, or maybe a telling if people didn't know, is at the bottom of Classroom there's a question mark. And if you click on that question mark, a little window pops up and it says send feedback. I mean, it says what's new, ask question, get help, but send feedback. Send feedback.
Good.
Mm-hmm. I've been told by people on the Classroom team, they read that feedback and they want that feedback. So I've sent in, I want the ability to embed a classroom into another site so that, either if I had a required site for my school that might be a WordPress site, or if I had a Google site with some other things on it, and I wanted my students to be able to go to one site for everything, it would be nice to be able to embed that Google site. Or if we do get the ability to add students outside of our domain at some point, if you're doing a training, you can just tell the audience members to go to this website and then join the class, instead of trying to tell them how to get to Classroom and all that stuff. So I would love the ability to embed a class into another site.
And I am looking for calendar integration. So easy for them, I know, and they can do it. They're just going to have to decide that that's a feature that is needed. But I know a lot of schools depend on calendar already, and they would love it to be part of it. And with calendar, you can already add attachments. Wouldn't it be great if the classroom assignment was the attachment? Basically you just click and Classroom opens up and there's your assignment and everything's good.
Almost like an event, when you add an event
Mm-hmm.
to a Google Plus and it goes to your calendar, that would be something that could be nice. I wonder if they're tiptoeing around certain features in Classroom just because it's a unique market. Schools are a unique market where they have a lot more laws they have to follow, and so they're slowly, because it seems like they're integrating things slower than other Google products do.
Well, this one in particular, the feedback has been so important, and I think they have to aggregate that and look at it carefully so that they know exactly what's being asked. And they want to do it right. They don't want to make a mistake. So the things that they've added were little pieces that were vital, and they're going to keep adding those on. Just wait. I know the things that we've just talked about are going to show up eventually. I do know they're trying to avoid being a classroom management system, to the fullest. So they're not trying to compete with Edmodo or Blackboard or any of the, Moodle type classroom management systems that are out there. If they do go that route, and this is just me speculating, this is not anything from Google. If they do go that route, I have this feeling that's going to be a third-party add-on that someone will develop.
That's interesting. I hadn't thought about they haven't opened up third-party add-ons to Classroom yet.
They might. Just wait.
So those are the updates for today. And everything I was reading, I got the impression there's more to come. And it seems logical that they would, if they're following the U.S. school calendar, it seems logical this is about the time that they would push out a lot of new updates to get ready for the next school year. So,
Absolutely.
So we appreciate you joining us for this episode of the podcast. And we will be back again soon.
See ya.